By the end of this video you should be able to find and interpret the mean, mode, median, quartiles and percentiles for grouped data. First we are going to learn how to find mean of a grouped data. Make sure to use the correct formula. Let's try to find the mean for the frequency distribution given below. To find the mean of a grouped data, first we need to have a table with the following information. Make sure to have the given class interval and the frequency of each class. We need to also have the midpoint of each class interval and also a column for the value of frequency multiply the midpoint, which is fx. Complete your table. Find the midpoint of each class. We can find midpoint by adding the upper limit of the class with the lower limit and dividing them by 2. After completing the midpoint of each class you can now find the value of f multiply x. Once the table is complete we can find the summation of f and summation of fx. Now we can find the mean of the given distribution by inserting the obtained values into the correct formula. I hope you are able to find mean of the given distribution. Second we are going to learn how to find mode of a group data. Make sure to use the correct formula. Let's try to find the mode of the frequency distribution given below. We need a table with the following information to find mode. Make sure the table is completed with the given class interval and frequency of the class. First identify the class with the highest frequency. In this example the highest frequency is 45. Therefore the mode of this distribution falls in the interval 50 to 59. Next check the formula of mode of a grouped data. We need to find LB, which stands for the lower boundary of the mode class interval. Lower boundary of a class can be obtained by adding the lower limit of the class with upper limit of the previous class and dividing the value by 2. In this example the lower boundary of the mode class is 49.5. We also need to find the upper boundary of the mode class. We will be using the lower and upper boundaries to find the value of C. Width of the class interval. Class width is the difference between the upper boundary and the lower boundary. The C value for this example is 10. Next we will be finding the value of D1 and D2. D1 is the difference between the mode class frequency and the previous class frequency. D2 is the difference between the mode class frequency and the after class frequency. For this example the value of D1 is 25 and the value of D2 is 20. Once we obtained all values needed we can insert the values into the formula of mode. Mode for this distribution is 55.056. Third we are going to learn how to find median of a grouped data. Make sure to use the correct formula. Now let's try to find the median of the frequency distribution given. We need a table with the following to find the median. Make sure the table is completed with the class intervals and frequency of the class. We need an extra column in the table which is cumulative frequency of the class. Cumulative frequency can be found by adding up the frequencies. The median is the value in the middle of a data set, which means the data in the middle. So we need to find 1/2 of the total frequency, which is 120. So median is at the 60th observation. The 60th observation can be found from the cumulative frequency. The 60th observation occurs at the 50 to 59 class. Therefore this is the median class. Now let's check the formula of median of a grouped data. We can see that we need the value of LK, which is the lower boundary of the median class. The lower boundary of the median class is 49.5. The value of n over 2 is 120 over 2, which is 60. Fk minus is the cumulative frequency before the median class. So we need to add all frequencies before the median class. Cumulative frequencies before the median class is 35. Fk stands for the frequency of the class, which is 45. C is the class width of the class, which is 10. Once we have all the values, we can key in the values into the formula of median. So median of this data is 55.056. Next we are going to find quartiles of a grouped data. Make sure to use the correct formula. Now let's try to find the first quartile, third quartile and interquartile range of the frequency distribution given. We need the same table as used to find median. Make sure to have interval, frequency, and cumulative frequency. The first quartile is the value in the first quarter of the data set. So we need to find 1/4 of the total frequency. 1/4 of the total frequency is 1/4 of 120, which is the 30th observation. The 30th observation can be found from the cumulative frequency. The 30th observation occurs at the 40 to 49 class. Therefore this is the first quartile class. Now let's check the formula of quartile of a grouped data. Similar to the median formula, we need to find the value of Lk, the lower boundary of the first quartile class. The lower boundary of the first quartile class is 39.5. The value of k over 4 multiply n is 30. Cumulative frequency before the first quartile class is 15. Frequency of the first quartile class is 20. The value of C is 10. Once we have all the values, we can key in the values into the formula of quartile. The first quartile of this data is 47. Using the same table we can find the third quartile. The third quartile is the value in the third quarter of the data set. 3/4 of the data is the 90th observation. The 90th observation occurs at the 60 to 69 class. Therefore this is the third quartile class. To find the third quartile we will use the formula of quartile of a grouped data. Similar to the median and first quartile formula, we need to find the value of Lk, the lower boundary of the third quartile class. The lower boundary of the third quartile class is 59.5. The value of 3/4 multiply 120 is 90. Cumulative frequency before the first quartile class is 80. Frequency of the first quartile class is 25. The value of C is 10. Once we have all the values, we can key in the values into the formula of quartile. The third quartile of this data is 63.5. The formula of interquartile range is Q3 minus Q1. The interquartile range of this data is 16.5. Next we are going to find percentile of a grouped data. Make sure to use the correct formula. Now let's try to find the 10th and 70th percentile of the frequency distribution given. We will be using the same table as quartile. Make sure the table is complete with the class interval, frequency of the class and cumulative frequencies. The 10th percentile is the 12th observation. So the 10th percentile occurs at the 30 to 39 class. Make sure to use the formula of percentile of a group data. We need to find the lower boundary of the P10 class. The lower boundary of P10 class is 29.5. The value of n is 12. Cumulative frequency before P10 class is 4. Frequency of the P10 class is 11. The value of C, the class width, is 10. Once we have all the values, we can key in the values into the formula of percentile. The value of P10 for this data is 36.77. We will repeat the same steps as P10 to find P70. P70 of the frequency distribution is 61.1. I hope you are able to find and interpret the mean, mode, median, quartiles and percentiles for grouped data.